All right, we are live. Kia ora everybody tuning in. There's nobody currently on the live right now, but people will probably, hopefully, watch us later. You are on the couch with Ensign, Burn, Tamashi, and Baby Girl. So we're here in Saitama, Japan. This is our third update for the our COVID-19 self-quarantine. And just thought I'd update you guys on what's happening here with us. I've got a couple messages from my cousins just checking in to see how we are, because if you haven't heard the news or seen the news lately, Japan has actually declared a state of emergency for its for 7 prefectures. And I was going to Google something. How many prefectures are there in Japan?
I have no idea. A lot.
So, there are 47 prefectures in Japan. And for those of you from the States, so a prefecture is essentially a state within Japan. If you're in New Zealand, a prefecture is like saying like the Tairāwhiti region or Wairarapa. So it's kind of an area with cities and towns inside of it, or like the South Island or Northland. So 7 of those 47 prefectures, the government has declared a state of emergency. There are a couple of things I wanted to address on this live. One pressing matter is the struggle to get consistent information. So I've been messaging somebody here on Facebook and from the New Zealand media, and we've been talking about different numbers and figures that the government and websites are putting out, and that's one of one of my concerns, is that there's no websites with consistent data on it. For example, so I've got my laptop here, and let me just turn this around to show you guys. So this is the what I think the World Health Organization is using. So at the time of this video, Japan has a total number of 3,906 cases, according to this website. So the Corona map, which is meant to be the live map of coronaviruses in Japan, you can see all those red dots. So the red dots are the people that are infected, and the green dots are the ones that have been discharged from hospital. And you can see that figure, again, is different. So it's 3,654, and that's meant to be a live update. And another one, this is on one of the government websites for information. There are 3,906 cases. Which is where they get this figure from, I'm assuming. But there's information, all this really different information across these websites. And these websites aren't driven by the media, they're actually driven by the government and health agencies. So even across them, it's really difficult to see just how many cases there are. And in terms of testing, so if we have a look at places like US, Spain, and Italy, and Germany, the US has tested a total of over 1.9 million people. Spain's tested over 355,000. Italy has tested over 721,000, and Germany has tested over 918,000 people. And if we go down to Japan has tested 46,172 people. And so that can possibly explain why the figures are so low in comparison to the rest of the world, which is quite astounding, if you ask me. And another interesting thing about what's happening here is our friend Casey, who I see has just jumped on there, is an English teacher in Tochigi Prefecture, which is a prefecture above us. And they are actually not part of the state of emergency. So that means that he, as an English teacher, is actually going back to school tomorrow. They're releasing all the students to go back to school. So you feel free to jump on and say anything you like, Casey, about what's going on with you up there. But that's quite concerning that they're only imposing the state of emergency on a small number of states, even though it's the biggest cities. So it's cities like Tokyo, Osaka, Fukuoka. So it's they're talking about Tokyo being the epicenter of the COVID virus here in Japan. So, and Saitama is our prefecture, is the prefecture right next door to Tokyo. So they're looking at shutting those down. So that's talking about the numbers and the figures there. Now, what I want to talk about is, what does a state of emergency mean in Japan? Contrary to what it sounds like, it's a lot different to how it is in New Zealand or the US or any other Western countries. So, because of the way the laws are set up here, the government cannot legally impose a lockdown like they have in other countries. So, what they have done is they are urging people to stay home and asking for non-essential. So essentially like a lockdown. Feel free to jump in if you think of anything, love. Yeah, so they're discouraging any non-essential travel. So anything to do with things that are permissible are supermarket shopping, medical visits, so hospital visits, and also things like the banks, post office, public transport. All of these things are considered essential services, and like pharmacies and drugstores. So they are staying open. They're strongly encouraging people not to go outside, not to socialize. And they've put this in place for 1 month, so until the 6th of May. In saying that, it doesn't sound like they're doing much. I mean, we've been waiting for the government to catch up with the rest of the world, the rest of the world is pretty much on lockdown now, which is great in terms of helping to mitigate the spread, stop the spread of coronavirus. And it was recently Bill Gates was commenting, and his commentary was in regards to the United States, but he had indicated that a state-by-state lockdown is not going to effectively control this virus. It needs to be an all-or-nothing approach. And in that respect, it does feel like Japan is seriously lagging behind the rest of the world, and the government is possibly more concerned with the effect on the economy than the actual spread and implications on its population and people. So that's, an interesting fact. So we're in a state of emergency, but it just means that they're strongly urging people not to go out. But a really good point that Ensign brought up earlier is the fact that Japanese society, in comparison to the rest, is actually quite an obedient society. So we don't think there's any need to impose these types of laws like you would have to in say Western cultures. When people impose when the government imposes something like this, it's likely that people will abide by it. So, I mean, it's better than nothing, I suppose. Right. At least they're doing something about it. And, excuse me. Just took a protein shake, so I'm burping. So at least they're doing something about it. But that is so that's the update here. Ensign and I have been in self-imposed quarantine, so we haven't been like socializing with people, training with other people. We've been training with each other, and pretty much just sticking to our house, training in the garage or up and down in our driveway here, and only going out to go to the supermarket and home centre, which are right next door to each other for supplies. And that's been us for at least a couple of weeks now. Yeah, since I got back from San Diego, which was it was a long time. What are we now? It's April. Yeah, mid-March. So we are just kind of quarantining here, getting in our garden, doing. Well, that's trippy. At least a couple weeks now. So Ensign's watching my live. Since I got back from San Diego. Can you mute that? It's tripping me out hearing myself. In terms of our attitude towards all of this, it's I think for the most part we're actually enjoying our time at home. I can go that far as to say that, my love. Yeah, we are, because we travel so much. We're actually enjoying being able to spend time together with our bobbers. The bobbers are loving it. We're doing a lot of chores on the house that we haven't managed to get to, for the longest time. We're getting in our gardens. We're getting some good quality training in.
Fixed all our cameras.
Yeah, we fixed all our security cameras. A couple of them, the cords had gotten loose. And also working on ways to stay in contact with our customers remotely on Zoom. So we're getting on the Zoom bandwagon and trying to get that fired up so that we can stay in touch with our customers remotely. Because, of course, Ensign's trips have been cancelled to Hawaii. So in terms of flights, I saw that Air New Zealand has suspended service back to New Zealand from Japan until June 30th. I saw that it was June 30th for most of the world locations from New Zealand outwards. ANA, some of the Japan services have suspended. Japan Airlines have suspended their services to a lot of parts of the world, including Hawaii. Delta hasn't. So we're in the process of trying to get refunds for some of the trips, because like the rest of the world, it's going to be a bit leaner for us with funds. So yeah, we have to try and hold on to what we can for the next wee while. So yeah, that's our update. Over here, anything to add, my love?
Nope.
Yeah. All right. I hope everybody is safe and, keeping up that social distancing, and really being grateful and giving gratitude. One, for the fact you're healthy. If you're watching this, it's likely that you are healthy, that you have a roof over your head, food to eat. You have internet. I mean, there is so much to be grateful for in all this chaos that's happening right now. Grateful for Netflix. Like everybody, we're jumping on that Netflix bandwagon and getting to watch a lot of things that we haven't been able to watch together because of our schedule. So there's a lot to be grateful for. And just hope everybody's keeping safe and letting you guys know that we're all okay here, and hoping, that everybody out there is too. Okay, we'll keep in touch.